Welcome back. We are here for the Between Stars and Suns, Season 2, Episode Lucky 13, hopefully. So, as usual, just to get Ernest up to speed, just to narrate what you remember from last time for those of you that were here, and then we can commence with finding out maybe a little bit of what happened with Ernest, perhaps, and I believe Liat does owe a mask of the past from last time, and I will introduce an unseen when we start night phase in earnest. Okay, not never mind, pun not intended. Sorry. Who wants to go first on the narration of what they remember?
Well, I joined this scrappy lot of investigators. In generally, I was introduced to Liat during a funeral. It was very awkward. I wasn't sure what on earth she's about, even though I do certify that she is a narcissist, but not as cracked up to be as as the notes given to me would portray her as. So, our dear legacy, Sir Atticus Wellington-Hughes, does live up to the remarks that I were given. He's very assured of himself in terms of physical prowess, but he's very insecure about emotional needs. But that's neither here nor there. We did some investigating on the Shoreditch Slugger, and we did theorize about what sort of powers he might have and how to stop him. We do have one night phase to resolve this, otherwise the Slugger is going to the mastermind, so that's very important.
Oh, that's what happens when the timer rounds out. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You also fixed my face.
Yes. It was very fascinating. Any bit closer and you would have died.
I didn't need to be made aware of that, but thank you. Honestly, the only other thing that I can remember was that we introduced Weiss to the coroner, and they bonded over being medical weirdos. And what did Liat do?
Yeah, well, all of that was going on. Liat, of course, was overseeing a funeral for one of her followers who wanted to die in her presence. You want to see God before you go, right? Before you have to deal with the other God. And she ended up. She has some connection. We're still not entirely sure what the connection is, but to this strange collector, serial killer business. So she went and visited the home of the victim, Mr. Vardana, and there she met with the maid of the house, who is also a follower of hers. Sorry, of Liat's, and which she proceeded to show her devotion by remaining on hands and knees throughout the entire rest of the day. The pair of them were also visited by Mr. Vardana's perhaps ex-wife. We're still not kind of sure. They're probably still married. But she came barking up the wrong tree, demanding the house. And Liat told her that wasn't going to happen. And she's not sure if Liat didn't, if she's not sure if she takes Liat seriously, but she hopes she does for her sake. And we theorized on the question to the Shoreditch Slugger, what is his weakness? We determined that it's sunlight, because he's sort of a vampiric entity, not necessarily a vampire, but he's leeching power from a feminine goddess and trying to sort of redistribute it, I guess, to this to the members of Bout Club, who are all obviously men. But the reason we want to keep him up until sunlight is because that's the only time he could be harmed, after which his wounds can't heal. And yeah, that's about it on my end.
And Ernest, what would you say you've been doing over the past day or so while they've been...
It's really only been 24 to 48 hours.
Mhm.
Like, he stormed out of Hargrave House, having been very terse to Dame Georgie, with full intentions of going to investigate Bout Club after having gotten his invisible ass handed to him last time that they interacted. As he starts like huffing and puffing down the street, got less and less motivated to do any investigating, actually, and why and how, and started to have the same sort of like metaphysical breakdown post his Bout Club beat down. So proceeded back to the Grand Guignon to backseat direct invisibly from the balcony whatever might be performing there this evening. I think that he probably spent a good 24 hours roaming around invisibly backstage, just pinching the asses of whoever happened to be near him and blowing in their ears and just haunting his old haunt until he felt better. And once he felt more himself, he donned, I think, a pig-shaped Noah mask from one of the, supply closets that he knows about back there, backstage, and donned his clothes again and headed back to Hargrave House to apologize to Dame Georgie and kind of get back to investigating everything.
I believe, and you can, change your minds at this point, people. So, Ernest is coming back to the house, not knowing what's happened since. But I imagine that Sir Atticus is going to Bout Club.
Yes.
Dr. Weiss?
I am also going to Bout Club, just in case my assistance is needed.
Okay. And Liat, where are you going?
Good question. Because I've still been kind of thinking about it. Oh, I remember too. She went to the South Kensington Museum for other clues and stole a piece of art from there.
She did.
But it was a portrait of her, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But
you are welcome to keep that in your personal quarters if you haven't already.
Oh, why, thank you. So just because I don't remember, his wife said that she would be coming back to the house. Yes?
Yes, she was going to bring lawyers to prove she had a claim to the house, and that whatever corpse was over at the morgue or whatever was not her husband, because that can't possibly be. It's 30 to 40 years younger than the man that she had married so many years ago. Probably
I would say that if Ernest wanted to, and if they intercepted each other on their way she would invite Ernest to accompany her to the morgue to go look at the body. But if Ernest has other plans, it's totally fine too. But yeah, I think I'll go to the morgue.
Okay.
I think it's fair to say that Ernest has no idea what's coming up next and probably would acquiesce to that, just any other plan.
Right. And would you say that just before going out, do you think that you would say something, Ernest, about having to find Dame Georgie? And Liat, would you say something about what happened to said? Or
Yeah,
I
so
don't.
maybe we have that scene and Ernest just bursts through the front of Hargrave House as Liat or even the others are leaving.
Yeah, I think Liat's sort of descending the stairs with Abdurrahman in a completely practical ball gown. I think he's carrying a very long train. She's got sort of like an ermine mantle on. Maybe she's got kind of like a bit of a like Ukrainian bride sort of thing happening. She's got like furs and coins and silks and lace. It's all very practical. But she's descending the stairs. Um, uh, so, were you not here already?
No, I haven't been here for quite some time. I thought the theater could use some attention. And you cannot see underneath the mask and the invisible skin, the bags under his eyes, or the lack of sleep, as is the, well, crux and benefit of being an invisible man. Are you going out?
Yes. The cab is out front. There's an extra seat if you like. And as she's doing this, she's just sort of like putting on her gloves and putting rings over the gloves. And
Yes, I think some investigating is definitely warranted. I'm feeling so much more myself. Do you know where Dame Georgie is? I owe them an apology. I was such an ass.
can't say for certain. I assume they left the house in embarrassment. But who's to say?
Oh, well, all right then. Where are we off to?
Well, going to touch some dead bodies. And she just sort of flexes her hands with the gloves.
I'll watch you. I mean, I'd watch you do anything, but I'll watch you touch some dead bodies, perhaps, just for company.
Yes, perhaps you can get your hands dirty as well.
Ernest looks at his own gloves and flexes some fingers and then offers an arm to Liat
Very
to
good.
walk her to the carriage.
She slips it under, and then the two of them plus Abdurrahman carrying out her very long train will get into the cab.
Okay.
You really feel like, sorry, the train just seems excessive for the morgue.
Does it?
It's nothing I would wear, but of course, everything that you wear is exquisite. I'm sure that, I mean, I won't carry your train. You'll have to bring Dormont with us.
Well, where else would Abdurrahman be?
Of course. I'm sorry. I've been on
You are
my
asking a lot of
own.
silly questions, Ernest.
No, I've literally not spoken to another soul for 2 days, and I get a little punchy. I apologize.
Yes, well, I was going to say best seen and not heard, but I feel like that would be a poor choice of words considering your condition.
I think that you crafted that beautifully.
I thank you.
Oh, just for that dig, it's like I'm going to ask you to scar your reflection, Liat.
Oh,
I'll take it.
this
I
is
can
such a
continue.
tiny dig.
I'll do it real quick because it wasn't a tiny dig. So I think that when she sort of like smiles and reclines, there's a moment where there's like a light reflecting from the lamplight into the carriage, into the cab on her cheek. We just kind of cut to the face of the statue of her statue, and the same spots just sort of starts to crack open.
Okay. So, I'm gonna say that Bout Club. I think you found this out from Denny after you had spoken with him and convinced him out of his plan to take a gun to the Shoreditch Slugger. Although, who knows? Um, but yeah, I think he's disclosed that the next spot is going to be not underground, but I mean it's going to be like a another construction site um, in a sheltered area of the abandoned warehouses that are near the docks. So, yeah, they're taking advantage of stuff being torn down and then rebuilt. Um, and that's where Bout Club is going to be. I'm just going to gloss over the whole getting there and all that kind of such, unless you two really want to have a scene together. And I'm going to say that, yeah, Brick is looking rather, I'm not going to say triumphant, but something very close to it, like very pleased with himself. And yeah, I mean, there's this energy tonight that's just seeming to be more virile, more virile, more viral. I mean, just this energy that just like seems to be permeating through this space and all the people that are gathered here. I mean, you can see it palpable on every single male's face that's here, and they are getting ready to watch the warm-up bouts. And then they look forward to seeing the slugger fight. So, what do you guys do?
We probably want to keep our heads down until it's time for the slugger to fight. Like, do we know, Mads, if like it is the final match of the night the slugger saying like we'll take any challengers and that sort of
Mm-hmm.
thing?
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's like, this seems to be the night that there's going to be some softening up of folks. I mean, like, run the gauntlet of whomever is going to, looking forward to fighting the slugger. And
Okay.
yeah, his will be the end fight. Oh, I apologize. So we're not quite in night phase yet because I have not introduced the unseen.
Oh, okay.
My apologies. So, the unseen for tonight is the bitter end. There is a brothel in Whitechapel, informally called the Bitter End, which, even by the standards of such disreputable places, is wholly wretched. A young nun, Sister Mary Edward Price, has taken it upon herself to help the Enders, stopping by once a week to provide them with counseling and light medical services. Let's meet the residents of the Bitter End. First prompt will be Mike. Second prompt will be Chaotic. Third prompt will be Jack. And Sarah will take the fourth prompt. Okay? So, Georgina, who is dying of consumption. How do we know Georgina is the most popular girl at the brothel?
I think that while Sister Mary is checking her vitals, hearing her cough, it's kind of rough. We do see the effects that Georgina has are of a finer make. She has actual jewelry, not like showpieces. Her clothing is of a fine make. She has gifts lavished on her by various suitors and people who do care.
So, at Bout Club, you are both new to this place, but obviously you have found your way here, so you must have known. And I think Brick will look you up and down appraisingly, Sir Atticus, as a possible contender, which is another reason why he has a bit of glee on his face. Looking forward to seeing this fight. Dr. Weiss, if you're like kind of staying attached to Sir Atticus, then I'm sure you're waved in as well.
Yeah.
And I think as you enter in and everybody's, you know, pounding the boards for just excitement, I think Jester Yardley is going to come up to you, Sir Atticus, and say, "Ah, you're looking rather fit, a contender. I won't ask you how you found out about our little club. I'm sure that it's been passed around."
I will silently brandish the tattoo that I have that has bound me to fight here.
Ah. Huh. You're a special case, then. Do you need to warm up? Shall I throw you into some beginner bouts? Although you don't look like you need it.
Atticus will calmly look across this field of prey because I did fail, or I did get a middle result for the cosmic passage.
Ah.
So I have bloodthirsty,
Oh, yes.
and I'm bound to bout. So as much as it is against my personal wishes, Atticus will look and he'll see a man coughing, just with consumption, just. But he's here to enjoy the fights. Atticus passes him up too weak. He sees another guy that's flexing and talking with his mates, too boisterous. If I take him out, he'll have a group of friends that I'll need to deal with afterwards. But then there's one, quiet in the back, and everyone has just avoided him. And he seems like he's also there expectantly. And when our eyes meet, that's it. He will be a worthy bout.
Okay. I mean, you'll see that he's got some tight chest bindings under his tattered vest, and I think he's got you see the glimpse of an anchor tattoo on lean muscle. And I think Jester Yardley sees where you're looking and says, "Yes, he'd make a decent bout for you for warming up. That is Francis Oakes. He's rather new to our club." Ah, looks like you've marked each other, so let's just say that you'll be able to do this bout with no problem whatsoever.
And if I win, will I speak with him? And I'll kind of look around trying to spot the slugger, which probably don't see him hanging out here.
Oh no, you will be the crown fight. It will be interesting to see how you fare against him. And again, for this particular thing, I mean, like, just know that fighting any of the people here is for free. So that's not an issue.
Okay, it's not a challenge. Perfect.
Yeah, it's not going to be a challenge. It's like it's when we get down to the end and see what happens with the slugger. That's going to be the interesting part. While this is going on, Doctor, what are you doing?
I think sort of I'm keeping close to Sir Atticus in these sort of opening moments, but I will leave him to it to fight. But I'm watching him very closely, as though a hyena watches the lion chomp down on its prey, hoping to get a bite in afterwards.
Nice.
Are you like chatting up the people that I beat in fights?
Yeah.
And just like, okay, all right.
Yeah. Just to see like how they are afterwards.
How to see how they are afterwards. Mm-hmm. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's breeze over to Liat and Ernest. So you make your way over to the morgue to look at Mr. Vardana's body.
I think while we're on the way there, Liat, and I think we're probably sort of like pulling up maybe, or like at least down the block. But she'll turn to Ernest and say, "So, is this really what you want to do with yourself tonight? Donning these clothes, looking at the dead?"
Well, considering what I saw at the theater, I think that the actual dead might be refreshing.
Here's what I mean is that you're so useful when you're naked. Perhaps there's other information to glean that way here. If you wanted to pursue that, well, I can assure you that your clothes would be in safe hands. And she sort of turns towards Abdurrahman, who just doesn't have an expression on his face.
I think Ernest does actually pause for a moment and considers himself lucky that such a radiant woman would be asking for his clothes. And then shaking his head back to the reality at hand. In truth, I have not donned a stitch in the last 48 hours, and I'm so starved for company. When I am naked, I so rarely have anyone to share it with. I end up alone.
Perils of being invisible, I suppose.
One of many, if I'm honest. It's like the splash of mud from carriages and every old crevice. There's a lot. There's a lot. Are you trying to... Is there a strategy? Can I help you in any way glean information unseen? Myself being unseen?
Oh, perhaps. I don't think I've met this mortician before, but this case itself is rather odd. Lots of fascinating but troublesome time paradoxes. This collector, well, they have not been active for decades at this point, and perhaps there's a conspiracy afoot. I have no idea. For some
Oh, so
reason,
you must have a personal connection to this collector then? I honestly was just along for a lark. I felt like I should be back to investigating because I hadn't been. And how do you know them?
that's the curious thing. I'm not sure I do. Somehow, I found myself attached to it, though.
Oh,
I suppose you could say that I'm looking for answers myself. I'm looking to see why I would even be attached to something so pedestrian as murder.
I think that Ernest is going to lean forward with his ceramic white pig mask and rest that little snoot on top of his hands and say rather sweetly, "For you." I'll roam around in his paperwork and see if there isn't something that I can't find that would be of use to you. But I do hope that you might grant a favor in return.
She kind of reclines a bit, spreading her arms against the back bench, and I think she has maybe like a glass of some liqueur in one hand, maybe some absinthe or something. But she'll take a sip and say, "Oh,
I am looking for any kind of kindness."
no. Well, you've come to the right place." And she takes a sip.
Ernest starts unbuttoning his shirt and starts taking off his clothes in order to be useful to Liat this evening.
She's definitely watching the way that you disrobe, and even though she can't see you, there's this sort of like allure that she has, or that you have rather, when she's looking through where you are, as if she's sort of like envisioning what should be there, but is also really intrigued by the fact that it's not there.
It's a new experience, right? One would hope, anyway.
I'm just going to speak out of character for half a mo and just mention I have never personally seen anyone do that extra move on the Undeniables playbook about the hunt, like, you know, an actual hunter, fellow hunter,
I
being a
have.
servant. I'm just curious, but it's just a thing, you know, so I'll save
At
that for.
this point, we're just in vibes.
I know.
Right? Like, Ernest just needs a hug.
Oh. I'm just saying, if it comes up, it's like it's definitely a wish.
They're flirting. They're
Rushing the plot, man.
we're not ready for a full commitment into servitude. Servitude.
Servitude, right?
Servitude.
Servitude.
Servant with tude. I don't know. Okay. Anyway.
It's the attitude, man.
Sorry. All right.
Ernest says nothing but tubular for the next 5 minutes, and then we move on.
Sorry. Didn't mean to break the mood, but wow, that's gonna be fun. I'm gonna say though, as you're making your way to this place, I think you may see, as you're watching Ernest, perhaps like maybe your eyes start to stray also to outside of the carriage, Liat, and maybe your carriage passes on the street. Strangers, beautiful strangers that look at you with hungry glances. And these are different from your normal worshiper glances. You're not sure whether they look like hunters or if they are prey to you. And I think, Ernest, as you are acquiescing to Liat and possibly, you know, removing your clothes in a sensual manner, I think you see what looks like the glint of blue on a rooftop several blocks away. You don't know why that's significant, but you just feel that it is. Sorry, chat again. So I think you make your way to the morgue. It is dark here, and you don't see any activity in this place at this late time of the night. And yeah, what do you do?
Yeah, I suppose this place wouldn't be open necessarily after dark. I mean, does it look like there's any activity, or
There might be a
a night watchman or someone working the night shift?
yeah, there might be a dim lamp from the back.
Okay. Yeah. Liat will be escorted out of the carriage and look back to the space where she believed Ernest was or is, and say, "I won't see you inside then."
He speaks from 12 inches to the right of where you were looking and says, "No, but I'll be watching on your behalf."
She smiles. She's amused, but she'll have Abdurrahman escort her inside, or escort her to the source of the light and see if they can get inside.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I imagine that Abdurrahman has his ways. of
Yeah.
doing what he needs to do. So I think you the door open. I mean, it's no big shakes for him, I'm sure. And I think you make your way to the back, and you'll see tables of they're cleaned off at this point. So anything that was here that was being examined or analyzed at one point are probably in the drawers of this place, and you feel the temperature being much cooler than it was outside, as if you have just stepped into an ice house.
Well, good thing she wore the fur. Yeah. And I'll say too that she says like when she's gotten out of the carriage, the head wrap that she's had on, not wrap, but like the headdress, kind of folds over her face, and she's just sort of like wearing this hood of coins and beads, and jewels. So her face isn't seen right now, but she will just very politely go, "Hello."
I think someone from the shadows will call out like a timid voice. Yes? Yes?
I'm looking for a body.
You find yourself in the right place, miss.
Yes, I suppose I do. I'm looking for a Mr. Vardhara. Vardana.
I just be the custodian there. I don't really know the bodies from a body. I clean up around it. The coroner, I think. He's gone home for the night. He could give you more information in the morning.
No, I'm here now. Just make sure that no one comes in. And she'll start to head back towards the freezers or the ice boxes.
Should you be looking back there, miss?
Yes.
He was starting to come away from the shadows, and then he just immediately sinks right back in and pushes a mop or what have you in front of him. You don't really see his face. You just, hear him timidly shuffle further on down the hallway.
So
go ahead.
Invisibly, Ernest has a hand over his mouth, trying to like quell the like breath in this cold environment
Right.
to avoid detection. But I would also like to look for whatever corners might be in office or ridden with papers and other clues that I might rifle through. Do I feel like down the hallway after him is the best course? Because I want to like time my footsteps with his, that kind of thing.
I mean, he's shuffling his way down the hallway, like, rather slowly, like he's pushing this mop in front of him and such. Give me I was gonna say investigation. Information move, please. With composure, because, like, again, you're trying to stay quiet, you're stealthy.
All right. I don't know what my composure is because it's been a minute.
That's fine.
Let's look.
And if you have any personal quarters you want to use to help you out in this case, well, go right ahead.
I mean, it's real difficult to carry items.
The thought of one. I don't know. Remember, like, not everything has to be portable.
I appreciate that. I have a +1 to composure. I'm just going to chance it.
Okay.
Which is fine. Which is a 9 +1 is 10.
Nice. Okay, great. Go ahead and tell me how you time your footsteps to his, and then you'll find the office of the coroner and see like there's a bunch of files on the desk and such. So
I'm doing something of a figure skating sort of slide and shuffle with my feet in time with the mop.
Nice.
And as I kind of like gauge his steps, I know that I can turn this doorknob when his mop is going to hit the edge of the wall, because that sound will probably be about the same. And I just kind of like slip right in.
No problem. All right, great. I'm going to say that you make your way into this office. Paint the scene for everyone. In the coroner's office, I mean, of course, it has like the usual accoutrements of like the files and like some of the tools, and it shows of a personality that is analytical, but yet quirky when he's here during the day. What do you see here that shows that this is not just a scientist, but also a an artist? And you can interpret artist however you want.
All of the different books on his bookshelves are not arranged in aren't arranged in alphabetical order. They're just arranged by color.
Great minds. Crap.
In sort of the documentation of like all the bodies that have come through there is little sketches of what their faces look like. You can see sort of like the actual physical sketch of like their corpse, but then like another image of what they would have looked like in life, breathing, sort of in a sort of a scene of domesticity. It's very lovely.
As Ernest starts rustling through papers, it's very noticeable that this doctor, quote unquote, this mortician, has a variety of ink colors, and it's not quite clear as to what the reasoning is, but every other sentence, paragraph, sometimes alternating words are all in a different color ink. That must be significant to him in some way, but makes absolutely no sense to the outside viewer.
I think on the wall are a series of death masks that have been painted in a variety of colors. And there's a little placard underneath each with just maybe cause of death and a date.
I think in the records that of the file that you're looking at, it has Mr. Vardana's name in there, and then you see the sketch of what the corpse looks like, as well as what the artist's rendering is of him, like, you know, in a lively, like, gaze, lively portrait, um, perhaps even smiling and such. But I think, unlike the other files, which just has the corpse head and then the rendering of representation of what the artist thinks the person looked like in life, for some reason there's also another picture next to Vardana's face on this file, hand drawn. And that is the clue. A small portrait of Vardana and an unknown man.
Just gonna go ahead and tear that page out, roll it up, and hold it in my fist, and hopefully it will remain invisible.
Right. And Liat, while you're striding down the hall, you see the drawers and such, and Abdurrahman's right there with you. What would you like to do here?
I would like to find Mr. Vardana's body.
Right. I mean, you can easily like just look through the drawers and or have Abdurrahman, look through
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
drawers
No,
and
I
find who
don't
you need.
do it myself. Yeah, I'll wait while he looks. And I don't think it's the kind of place that maybe labels the drawers or the freezers. It's very, just puts them in and lets them stay until they have to get out of there.
Pretty much.
So yeah, I think once, after a while, he pulls it out of the freezer and with his own strength, kind of like pulls over the table, sort of finesses it onto the table so that they can examine it.
Yeah, and I think you will see exactly what Amrita Prakresh, I think is the name of the wife. I think you'll see what she says. There's, not likely figures, like maybe a couple more corpses that are here, but they're not in any state that you would suspect they're Mr. Vardana. But the last corpse that Abdurrahman finds is a beautiful Indian man. His corpse, naked of course, and like probably no older than about 30, if that. He just has, even in death, he has this beauty that, well, you've seen it. You've seen what they look like.
Abdurrahman, fetch me one of the scalpels over there, the saws. And I imagine he does. And then she will actually take the instruments herself and with and I don't know if this is like a kind of move at all, but she does want to like sort of open up the chest cavity just to sort of see if anything's going on in there.
Absolutely. Information move, please.
Or,
This is pretty as reasonable as you can get, even though you don't have it.
yeah.
So, unless you want to parlay sensitivity, which again, I don't know what your scores are.
Not yet. I'm going to use an item just because reason is not great.
Okay.
I think that item is going to be the ancient scroll of a love story. Actually, no. I think it's going to be the Anra scarab ring, and I think that it's not so much to help her cut open the body, but it's more to help her explore the body.
Sure.
But yeah.
I have to ask, because having seen the mummy, does the scarab ring come alive, or is it just
No. But I imagine that it's pretty dark in there, and so when she speaks the power word, I think it just sort of helps her illuminate everything while she's digging
fantastic?
around.
Just wanted to be sure. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Go ahead and roll with advantage. Hold on a second. Just one more thing. For funsies, yeah, most beloved's definitely going to be coming into play here.
So it's just flat roll.
Flat roll, please.
All right. That is a 7.
Okay. Still a good clue. Because scarab ring lights up as you say the power word. Abdurrahman in attendance. And I think as you cut the corpse open, you will see immediately a glint of blue coming from the chest cavity. And what you find is a shard of blue tinted mirror, curved in a wicked spike. But it is buried in his chest.
Is it like replacing anything, or is it just sort of embedded in a specific organ, or
I will let you decide
okay.
how that works when
Okay.
you do the answering a question. But a shard of blue tinted mirror.
Sure.
Curved. Okay? And for that 7, I'm going to say that there is, coming back into the room is the custodian, janitor. It's still dark in here, even with your scarab ring, because it only has a limited amount of ambient light that it provides. And then you hear the custodian shuffle back into the room and
Excuse me, miss. You seem awfully curious about these bodies.
No, just this one.
Ah, that's too bad.
And you notice that there's a bit of a tone that comes into his voice as it sounds like he's straightening up, and you hear a distinct sound of metal sliding out in the shadows. I'm going to leave you there as we go back to, or as we go to the unseen. Excuse me. Chaotic. Nanette, sweet-natured and petite. How do we know Nanette is doing this because she has no other choice?
We actually see a scene of like young the young nun Sister Mary. She is calling out for Nanette, but Nanette doesn't respond right away as she is being sort of downstairs, being surrounded by men, just all looking at her, trying to talk to her, trying to get her attention, and like she really doesn't want to be here, but it's good work. It's reliable work. It's stuff that she can do as like she excuses herself. You can see her sort of limping along, trying to climb up the stairs. Her leg is just doesn't want to cooperate these days. And like, look at Sister Mary. Well, she provides good medicine that makes it a little bit easier.
Sir Atticus, you are up for your fight with, I believe it is Francis, who you're up against. He looks anxious as he approaches, but then immediately shakes it off and looks you in the eye as he is very serious about the club.
You never catch me giving up a fight like Bram did. I don't care if I die. I don't think anyone should die without scars, you know? You got a few nice ones yourself, I see.
I'll look him up and down. Are there any scars that are visible?
Yeah, you can see scratches on the parts of his chest that aren't, like, in bindings, as well as, like, a couple of what looks like nicks, like, or long jagged edges, like along his jawline.
Just
As if
from
he
like
got-
nails, I imagine.
Let's put it this way. Every so often, the club would like to bring out some fun things like knuckle dusters. So, there's a possibility he got into one of those fights, too.
Ah, an experienced bouter.
I may be new, but I'm mean, sir.
To what end?
To be strong. I belong here. And I am not gonna let anyone tell me different.
Then be welcome here.
And he could does that come on motion.
Yeah, no, and we fight. Bare knuckle brawl. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, night moves still. You gotta
Okay.
win your fight to get to the slugger.
Okay.
What do you think will go wrong if you fail or lose your nerve? He's fast. He's wiry. He's, again, he's got those scars and he's just grinning, like he's starting to grin like he's wild about it. But his punches are pretty precise, even for you.
If I were old Atticus, I would have just like tanked it and like embraced it. But I'm I'm small Atticus. I don't think this guy would cheat. What am I worried about? I think I'm worried about Atticus losing control. Like getting too into the fight, forgetting why we're here, and kind of betraying himself for a moment and just engaging in the fight entirely.
It's worse that not only will you lose control, but there's a high possibility that you're going to be proving yourself by blooding yourself with Francis's demise.
Oh, I really don't.
And he's going to be smiling when you do it.
I don't like that. Okay, all right. Am I rolling vitality?
Oh God, yes. I mean,
All right. Look, I don't know if you're gonna be like, a roll composure to control your. Please don't. Am I rolling with disadvantage because bloodthirsty? I hate to call it up, but
no, I mean, like, it's like, you're being honest about it, and that's really what's gonna, that's gonna be hurting your chances, unless you have a personal quarters item that you'd like to bring in.
I would like to counter with the fact that this is my first roll of the night move, which means
Oh,
that the advantage of the
yes.
night move or of the cosmic passage cancels out the disadvantage of this thing.
Perfect. Go ahead. So straight with vitality.
Oof. That is a 5 on the dice plus 3, which gives me an 8. So middling result.
Okay. Mixed results. Yeah, I think you succeed at this. However, However, let me chuck over to Dr. Weiss for half a mo as I think about this. But you will win this fight. It's just going to be something's going to muck this up. Dr. Weiss, what are you doing while Sir Atticus is engaging in violence?
Yeah, I think honestly, like I'm at the edges of where this is because, like, I imagine like this is like you said this was like sort of a tunnel of sorts from earlier.
It's in a warehouse that was
Mhm.
torn partially down and then like being rebuilt.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like in the same type of corral mode as the other locations.
Mm-hmm.
So like the ring that people are fighting in, and then like maybe a low fence, and then everybody else surrounding with maybe some tiered
Yeah.
bleachers of some sort.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I think I'm like I'm behind those tiered bleachers trying to like not listen to the fight itself because I do have a condition called pain empathy. So like every time I hear like knuckles on flesh, I can feel it in my head, and my head is throbbing.
Yeah.
So it's just not pleasant. So I think
Because of the energy that's pumping through here tonight, let's do a night move for you,
yeah.
Doctor. There's coming upon you underneath the bleachers are a couple of figures. It's like, why aren't you out there getting ready to do some fight, little man? You gotta take your turn if you're gonna stay here at Bow Club. And these are rather rugged individuals because they also have scars on their face and maybe on their forearms and such, and definitely bloodied knuckles. So, you know, they look like they're going to, whether you want to or not, possibly engage you here because, again, the testosterone is pumping through their brains. So, yeah, totally bruh energy for sure. Um, so yeah, night move with composure or vitality. I mean, however you want to try to deal with this.
I would think it would be composure because, like, John Weiss would try to evade rather than brute force his way through.
Sure. Okay.
But I imagine what I'm afraid of is sort of the stuff that I'm not seeing because, like, so far we have not seen the slugger. We don't know where he's at, and I don't want to be running into him in sort of a dark area.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Well, I think again because of the energy pumping through the club, I think these guys are could just as easily bring you to the slugger himself. Yeah, exactly. Your first fight is the slugger
Thank
for
you.
funsies.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Mike.
Yes.
Do I have disadvantage because of pain and empathy?
Yeah, I think it's rocking in your head that you're feeling this.
Yeah, and I don't think that there's anything I want to use for my personal quarters, so disadvantage for me.
Okay.
Not bad, not bad. That is a 9 total.
9. Excellent. Tell me how you parlay or evade your way out of here.
I think because, like, they're coming at me with brute force, but their weights, but they've already been fighting this evening. So, like, they're a little bit tired, a little bit winded. So, like, I think, like, I just sort of easily sidestep out of the way and I sort of make way back in through the crowd and, like, again, another smack, another way down. I think, like, a little bit blood goes flying and I can feel it on my skin. It's unpleasant, but here, near the violence, I am safe.
I think as you back out of underneath the bleachers and you try to get into the clear, I think you back into someone and you feel a very meaty hand on your shoulder. And all you hear behind you is a very deep, toll-like voice saying, "Stay." And back to Atticus for half a mo. So Atticus, tell me, like, how you take out Francis. What do you do to Francis, basically?
It's a good clean fight. Body blows. I try to avoid the face so that Francis can still be presentable. But have a couple of bruises, maybe a scar or two.
And I think he is smiling still because he appreciates your verve in this fight. But I think as you're coming out of your fight, like, maybe you see red from the bloodthirsty and, like, you're getting into it, but then you hold yourself back just enough that you're like, oh, better not kill him. I think you'll look up, and I'm just trying to remember now what you've seen so far. Shoot. Give me a second. I'm trying to remember where you've been. Ah, got it. I think as you raise your bloodied face to the crowd, appreciating the roars and the claps and the hoots and the hollers, I think you see somehow your eyes rest on a face that looks very familiar, and you hear a voice. It's a male face, but it looks familiar to you because as you lay eyes on it, you hear a voice saying to you, "Imprison me, or worse. As you can see, I'm already lost." And we go to the unseen. Jack, Candace, whose 3 children live with her in the brothel,
In what ways has Candace tried to create a normal life for them here?
This is a more rundown brothel. It's certainly not, a high-end place, but it is, for what it is, spacious, multiple floors, or at least one floor above ground level. And I think that's where we see Candace. She is getting ready in what looks to be kind of a smaller room. But we see that there's a bed, and she's at a very kind of undecorated, and probably even some of the paint is flaking off it, but a vanity. And we can hear some sounds of rustling, of scuffling, of giggling, of barking, not like a dog, but like of a person making a dog sound. And we notice that the wall that's behind her isn't actually a wall. It's in fact a series of curtains. And there's a moment where she sort of whips around, pulls the curtains back, and we see her three kids sort of grouped together. And what she's done is created a space from the closet to a couple feet outside of the closet, partitioning it off with these curtains just she suspended. And they're not like very fancy curtains. If anything, she probably got some scraps of materials, some velvets here, some different silks there. Sort of as crudely as she can construct this thing. But we see that the two young boys are sort of one's on top of the other, sort of has his dukes up as if they're play fighting. But the youngest, her daughter, is just sort of giggling at the two of them, barking at them like a little dog. And Kay just sort of snaps at them with her fingers and says, "Hey, cut it out. I've got a client in 10. Just keep it down, all right? Get in the closet if you need to." And the three of them look up, and they say, "Yes, Mum." And we see that in this sort of partitioned off space, there are little children's drawings that have been stuck to the flaking wallpaper of this bordello. And we see that in the closet there are some children's toys sort of stuffed in the bottom of it, along with some of her dresses and some of her evening attire.
You hear the custodian speak and say, "Oh, that's just too bad." And you hear him straighten up, and then the sound of metal sliding out from somewhere in the darkness. And I think as you're looking at this mirror, night move. I think as the metal slides out from the darkness, I think the camera will see the glint of metal, long metal, sharp metal, and it will be coming for your head, Liat. So night move.
I'm afraid that I'm gonna get my head cut off, so that would be bad.
Yup. I think this person will cut off your head, take it as prize, and know how to disable Abdurrahman because of what they know. And yeah,
Can I add something to that?
sure.
Because I am immortal, I won't be dead. My head will just be living.
Yes. Exactly.
Is this with vitality?
I mean,
Composure?
composure is if you're doing something with a steady hand.
I'm gonna
or
do
stealthy.
vitality because I've got a +1, but I think that she's a fighter. She's not gonna just.
She's been around, so
She's
I'd
been around
say
the block.
that works. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And again, because you're most beloved, this is definitely why it's happening.
Does it mean disadvantage, or does it mean
Disadvantage, please. Sorry.
I don't like that? I do like that though. Yeah, that's going to be a 7 total.
Okay.
And you know, because I want to be a badass, I'm going to go ahead and mark a mask to bump that up to a 10.
Which mask?
Uh, is there a
Just
mask
one.
attached to this threat?
This is the collector? Yes, there should be. Give me a second. I'm gonna have to look at the notes. It's the slugger that doesn't have a mask attached to it.
Mask of Mirrors.
Yup. Let me see. Give me a second. Yep, Mask of Mirrors. So this means everybody go and do it.
What do you want to be opposed to me doing it, or do you want me to mark one of my own masks?
That is up to, I mean, that is up to you. I mean, remember, you don't have to ask permission. You just
Well,
do
I'm
it.
being diplomatic.
Okay.
I
I
absolutely have no problem with narrating something like that. I just will be curious because I haven't read the
Sure.
mask yet.
I don't
How
need I don't know what the
Ernest is going to deal with mirrors.
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So the Mask of Mirrors. Each hunter tells of a time when they were seen for who they truly are, and how it irrevocably changed their relationship with the one who saw them.
That's good.
Yeah. So everybody gets to do that one.
All right. So
Hold
yeah,
on.
I'm gonna bump that up to a 10.
Perfect. Okay, give me a second. Mask of Mirrors, bumping up to a 10. All right. So, tell me how you and or Abdurrahman, like, get you prevent your head from coming off.
So is this like a saber, like a sword coming at me, or
Yes,
what?
it's like basically yeah, I mean, the custodian dude whose face is still in shadow somehow, but yeah, you like, you see the glint of the sword blade coming at you almost too late. But I
What
mean, yeah,
what
it
kind of
comes
sword is it?
slicing. I'm gonna say it's like curved, like a scimitar,
Okay.
but like slender, like not huge, like broadsword
hmm
sized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So uh I think that she sees a flash of light against and I think it's probably like some of her ambient light as
Yes.
the sword is coming towards it.
Cool.
And I think that instinctively she just grabs the blade as it's sort of faced to her. The point is sort of quivering in her hand as it's sort of pointed at her face. And she just sort of very smugly smiles at this custodian whose face she still can't see, and he can't see her face.
Hmm.
And she she just sort of yanks at it, and I think that he's surprised by her prowess, and it doesn't like disarm him, but she sort of just yanks it to sort of confirm that she's in control right now. And she just says, "Abdurrahman, if you will." And he steps out from behind her, and he very carefully pulls back her veil to reveal her face. And this man realizes who this is, her beauty, her radiance, her splendor, and he's transfixed, and he is now a servant of hers. And
Mm.
he drops the blade, and he profusely apologizes. And she goes, "It's not the first time someone's tried to kill me, or one of my followers. And I assume it won't be the last. However, I do make a point of teaching those who would do such a thing a lesson." And she puts out her hand and says, "The blade, if you will." And he, trembling, takes it up and hands it off to Liat. And she motions for Abdurrahman, who bows his head at her in obedience and steps beside or behind this custodian and takes his head and pries apart his mouth and begins to fish out his tongue. And without getting too gory, she takes a token.
Yeah. Okay. I think though before he manages to get his tongue ready, I think he will still look at you awestruck, but his mouth will say of its own accord, "It must continue."
None may escape death. And then that's where Abdurrahman will take his tongue and get him prepped.
Love it.
And I'm going to say that, again, you've scarred your reflection again, Liat, for taking another follower, worshiper.
Okay. Yeah, I think as she's got the tongue in her hand, that sort of crack that was on the cheek of the statue continues downward towards the mouth, and like a chunk of the lower jaw just sort of crumbles and falls to the ground.
Okay. Alrighty. And then, Ernest, I think you hear the clang as, the shing of metal as this is happening further down the hall. What are you doing? Or have you come upon them already and just kind of observed from the darkness?
I actually wasn't done digging. So is it possible that I might be able to do some sort of an information move, specifically looking to see if there is any record of Liat among these papers?
Ooh.
To try and link a connection as I said I would.
Ah. Yeah, I mean, go ahead and let's just say that you have time as you're hearing this.
Before the clank.
Yeah, before the clank.
Yeah. I'm going to do that then. Composure? Am I keeping my cool still?
No, because by this time the custodian has already made his way down towards that end before the clank, of course. And so therefore you don't have to worry about being quiet.
All right.
So
it's going to roll well. I did. That is an 11.
11. Okay.
All told.
Info. I'm going to ask the question because, of course, everybody's always curious. Did you want to bump it up to, well, that is, you are so close. I mean, you can. And I have not heard much from Ernest lately, so, I mean, if you want to, you can.
Doesn't that sound like fun, everyone? Yeah. Let's also Liat plus Mastermind plus a mask from Ernest.
Okay.
What am I marking?
I don't know. What are you marking? Which mask? Past or future?
Let's do future for now, because I'm going to have to work on that mirror mask.
Sure. Okay, give me a second. All right. Ugh. I will bring out all the mastermind clues before the night is over. Trust me, I will.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we got that covered. Give me a second. All right. A 12. All right, so mastermind clue. And then there's this for collector.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I can mark the masks of the future in any old order I choose.
Absolutely.
Correct?
It's masks of the past that have to be going in order. So mask of the future can be any order.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if this is okay, Liat, I think what Ernest finds is a manifest of some sort, an inventory of things that were found on Mr. Verdana's person when he was brought in. And what they found was, and I know it hasn't been mentioned before, but of course, retroactivity, this is what happens. I think to tie it into Liat, I think this is the manifest shows a brooch that was found. And this brooch was in the shape of a butterfly. Wings composed of blue jewels. And I think you might have seen this butterfly, this very butterfly, the shape, the picture of it, the jewels, as either bigger or smaller in
perhaps Liat's quarters, or a motif that she has worn on one of her dresses.
Maybe I just have a dress made of them.
Yes, there you go. So that brooch, like, you know, the description of, in fact, again, the guy being an artist, he probably drew it. He probably like drew it on his page.
And I
so
just find an inventory, right? I don't find the evidence bag full of said brooch
no,
or anything else. It's just a list, a description of what was brought in. Okay.
yeah, right now it's like it's just the list. Yeah. And
Does
that's what you
that
find.
double as a mastermind clue?
It does not. That is
Okay.
directly from the threat. I'm going to give you, actually, you know what? I'm going to give you your mastermind clue right now because the other two kind of require a little bit of build-up. Give me a second. Your mastermind clue is...
That she said it requires build-up has me concerned.
I mean, it's kind of the game, though, right? Like,
The tension is important, yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Another thing that has been found among his... what the hell do they call them? My God, I'm like losing vocabulary. His effects. There we go. What has been found among his effects that was found on him. But in this case, this thing was left in the file because it's a piece of paper. And you will find that it is an invitation to a royal ball hosted by a court of vampires.
I would tuck that into my jacket pocket if that were relevant.
I don't know. Would he? Would he not?
Oh no, I'm not currently wearing any clothes
Yes.
tuck into any pockets. So I think it's still the like curl and palm in a fist in an effort to keep all of the paper both invisible and on him.
Aw, somebody ruined the surprise. Nuts. That's okay. I mean, I'll bring them out for the video later. But anyway, yeah. Okay, so that's what you find, and we are going to take a 10-minute break. And then we will introduce the last unseen, and then we will finish off the Shoreditch Slugger as we get into the the big fight. Okay, Sarah, Mabel, who has gotten a bit long in the tooth. What does Mabel try to do to keep up with the younger girls?
Mabel has long salt and pepper silver hair that she ties up in the latest fashion, just like the rest of the girls. And she used to do so much rouge and paint her cheeks and cake herself in makeup to try and chase the youth, but found that after many years in this particular profession, she has better luck with the niche market, the gentleman looking for something a little different than just a pliant woman or an eager ear. And so Mabel finds herself with a number of regulars that are either into some kinky behavior or perhaps just even that one gentleman that wants her to lay absolutely still the entire time.
All right, so Dr. Weiss, you hear the stentorian voice behind you and the meaty hand that keeps you there as they tower above you and watch the end of this fight of Sir Atticus and Francis. Francis, who seems to be dragged away in shame, but yet still smiling because he figures he got a good bout out of you, Sir Atticus, so he's okay with it. Not great, but he's okay with it. And I'm going to say that please put in your personal quarters a clue that you can apply towards something in the future.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. And then Jester looks over where you are, Chaotic. Excuse where you are, Dr. Weiss. Oh my gosh, I'm losing it. And then smiles, this big smile, as he raises both of his hands and announces 1 minute to our finale for this evening, as we've seen the great Atticus here has defeated our most enthusiastic member, Francis Oakes. Now, we shall see in a few moments how he fares against our champion, the Shoreditch Slugger. And with a flourish, he waves over by where Chaotic is. And Chaotic, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm losing my brain, I swear to God. Okay, getting back into it. Dr. Weiss, if you're looking up, like, upside down, I think you will see the tall figure, like we're talking like 7-8 feet tall, like looking down at you with a very bemused expression. And like with this grin of getting ready for battle, basically. And I think this grin may be a little tiny long in the tooth, or at least 2 teeth. Yeah, so a few moments, maybe you're allowed to come off to the side and I don't know, get splashed with some brackish water, Sir Atticus, or like get rubbed down by one of your fellow, one of the fellow club members and such.
Yeah, they passed me a towel and a beer, honestly.
Here,
Like, this
a
is that
towel
kind
and
of
beer.
kind of place.
Exactly. And again, you'll hear the stentorian tones behind you, Dr. Weiss, as this Shoreditch Slugger just looks down and says, "Welcome. You may be witness to my best fight yet. Your friend looks capable."
Oh, yes. Wow, you're tall.
"I am but a god."
Like, I'm gobsmacked at like how massive like the Sworded Slugger is compared to me. I'm no slouch, but like, wow.
I think you maybe even look on your shoulder and like realize like that hand is encompassing your shoulder.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Okay. So, all right. Given this, a few moments pass. You take down some swigs of the weird beer and bleh, get toweled off a little bit. And Jester makes the announcement, and you see this hulking figure come out from behind. Well, not really come out from behind, but I mean basically step out from behind Dr. Weiss and step into the ring, Sir Atticus. All 8 feet of him, proportional, cut, and he will bring his fist, like a fist and the palm together, and then curl his fingers over the fist and crack them all in a gesture of readiness, but also as intimidation.
I look over at Jester and say, "Good sir, I can't help but notice that there's a bit of a difference in the scale here. Surely you wouldn't leave me here just for a simple brawl with my bare hands, would you? Wouldn't be much of a fight, especially for your title match."
And he just smiles lopsidedly and then calls off to the side. It's like, Corvus! And in comes this kind of swarthy looking fellow that kind of brings him a bag, and what he'll do is, like, you hear clanking in it, and he will toss the bag to you, Sir Atticus, as he hands something big to the Shoreditch Slugger.
I'll toss the bag back to Joker. Or to Jester. No. I have something. And I would like to go over to Dr. Weiss and take a stick that I handed to him previously.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you. And it is just a walking stick with a couple of bits and bobs that have been attached to it.
The Shoreditch Slugger opens up the little chest, or actually not little, but I don't know how else you want to term it. He opens up the box. The box gleams onto his face, and he pulls out what look like these monstrous manacles, but then you realize that they are kind of like, not flexible, but more like hinged knuckle dusters.
Okay.
And he puts
fair.
them on, like, very deliberately, like one on each hand.
Atticus will just kind of doodle in the dust with this stick that he has.
Shoreditch Slugger will again smile, and then do the thing where, like, he's got the knuckle dusters on, and then he's gonna do that weird, like, snapping, like, muscle motion, and then you hear deliberate cracks coming from his muscle move.
How long do I need to hold out for?
Dawn is fast approaching, but not here just yet.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, so when this happens, Dr. Weiss, after you hand over the stick, what are you doing?
I go in the center and I wait for Jester to say his piece. And I just kind of measure up the Shoreditch Slugger, take him in for a moment.
He makes his way with ponderous foot into the ring, massive. And Dr. Weiss, I mean, like, what are you doing after this happens?
Oh, I'm excited because, like, me as chaotic, I don't know what the stick is gonna do. Me as Dr. Weiss, I know what the stick is going to do, and I can't wait to see it have an effect on that massive man.
Okay.
Ooh, he could be right.
Oh boy. Okay. So, night move. Boy, howdy. You can bring anything you want to bear on this, but I mean, you are still bloodthirsty, as far as I know, Sir Atticus. So that puts you already at a disadvantage for this.
I would like to use the monkey stick move, please.
Oh my god!
For those of you who don't recall, the monkey stick is a tool that I got in season 1, and it says banging the stick on the ground will cause a single person to focus intently on what I am saying or doing, ignoring all else for a moment. And it has 7 uses. So as the Shoreditch Slugger rears up to fight, Atticus will bang on the ground and simply begin an accounting of who the Shoreditch Slugger is. Would she be proud of how you're using her gift?
Okay. Still night move, though.
Okay.
Still
yeah,
night
sure.
move to be able to get a chance to use said monkey stick, because shit
Okay.
can go wrong still.
Perfect.
So, again, bloodthirsty, disadvantage, but let me see. Composure, I would say, just because
Composure.
I mean, come on now. I mean, like, you know, you're
Composure.
not
Wait.
fight.
Sensitivity. I'm channeling the
Okay.
power of the
The
monkey.
item
Okay.
it makes it an even roll, though, right? Like he's using this stick as an item in your personal quarters.
Well,
Flat?
it's a move. It is just a flat. When you
okay.
use this thing, they are focused on what you are saying to the detriment of literally everything else. It is an enthrall. Like,
Okay. So,
Alright.
so basically, I'm okay. Sensitivity, I'll go with that because that is a supernatural item. And
but
then
I'll take the disadvantage because it is. I am bloodthirsty. I should really want to punch this guy's lights out, but the monkey stick though.
yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That is fine.
All right. Yeah. So I'll roll with disadvantage. I don't have anything that I can use in my personal quarters.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Oof, that's not good. So that is a 3 plus 2 is a 5. So unfortunately,
I'm gonna say, and I didn't even ask you, like, you know, how do you think it could go wrong? Well, anyway, the way it goes wrong is the fact that, you know, with this, I think you kind of get caught up in your own swagger a little bit too long, and then the Shoreditch Slugger doesn't wait. He basically like will take a tight swing at you, and then not only knock you over, but he will, in his knocking you over, he will then grab you by the throat, hold you up to the audience to show everyone, and then crush your windpipe.
I would like to mark a mask of the past to resist this.
Okay.
Taking me down to a mere 3 masks.
Oh my.
And I haven't engaged with the beast yet. Gosh, that would be unfortunate.
I do have a rules question.
Mask of.
Even though we have not resolved the slugger threat, do we have the access to the move Eternal Man?
I thought Eternal Man was I mean, like, you answered that question, so yes, you did.
So you instead of the mask, you could use a box on the Eternal Man because
All right. Okay.
Through sheer force of will, you survive. You know what? Chaotic?
You just continue to like pound the monkey stick until it works.
Bro, let's go with this man. Mads, as you say, this man crushes my windpipe, throws me aside, and I'm a man up. I'm a tough it out, and just with the creakiest, like, is she proud?
Okay, so we're not using a mask.
I will not use a mask because Chaotic had a brilliant idea.
Using Eternal Man. Okay. And then we need to add that. I forgot to add that move to the threat moves, and we need to mark off a box.
Yes,
that has been done.
I have marked a box. I will move the move into the moves tab as well.
Thank you.
Goodness we got that move, because
God! Oh my God! Okay.
Gosh,
yeah,
that's big.
That's big. Okay, so tell me how this works for Eternal Man.
When the keeper narrates the hunter's death as a result of a missed roll, you may mark a box below and say how through your strength and force of will, and perhaps the machinations of the occult, you actually survive. The hunters do share this track, so it's for everyone.
I will say that if you want to, because he's so massive, if you want to say that you ask your questions or what have you, by sheer will, you're able to hold on to the stick. I'm going to say that I will count hitting the slugger with said monkey stick will activate it.
Okay.
And you can still continue to use that as a move.
Okay. Then I'd like to do that.
Okay.
I'd like my windpipe to still be crushed, but because I'm leeching off of the slugger's power, I heal.
Yeah.
I'm tattooed, I'm branded, I'm pulling from the same well of power. It is just going to be two beefy dudes. I'm invoking his goddess and using her power against him.
Lovely. All right, tell me what you say and how he starts. Well, actually, like, go ahead and tell me what you say.
Is she proud?
You feel the grip on your windpipe, your throat loosening as he looks at you. He's still holding you aloft, but it seems to slip a little.
Is it enough? You can't even feed yourself anymore.
Arm lowers. You feel your toes touching the ground.
How long will this go on?
Grip tightens.
I won't be the last, and you know that.
They love me.
How many whelps will it take to compare to her love? She gifted you the world, and you spat in her face to create an altar to your own pride and to his.
No. No. Still to her glory.
And I'll use my eyes and point over to Jester. He seems to be praising her. I'll look over at him. Oh darn, what's his name? Stone? The guy that was bragging. Brick. And he's definitely doing her honor. Look how they squandered the gift you gave them.
No. Everything is to her glory. My power.
Do they even know her name? Because my windpipe is still crushed and I'm slowly dying.
You're getting, well, yeah, I mean, new lease on life, I guess, maybe.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so I think this continues on in a particular vein for a bit, as he's, again, as you say, enthralled by you. And in the midst of this, Dr. Weiss, you can hear like the rest of the group. They're chanting, they're calling for Atticus to be consumed, basically. And they're calling for blood. They're calling for somebody to do something. It's almost as if those two are suspended in the ring, but then everybody else is like, just frenzied. You're feeling this, but you are not feeling like any pain or what have you, because nobody's throwing any punches at the moment. What do you do?
If he won't, and I think I get up on like a bench or something and start speaking. If he won't consume the one he has so easily in his grasp, then we must consume him instead. So I'm trying to citing violence against the slugger because
oh my god. I'll go for it. I mean, night move. This is dangerous. Okay, great.
I mean, it does say that we need to defeat him.
Night. What do you think will go wrong if you fail or lose your nerve?
I will look pathetic in front of Atticus of like trying to like do this plan when we didn't discuss this at all.
Yeah, they are going to turn their frenzy upon you instead. It's like,
oops, I get eaten instead.
Something like that. Yeah. So this could be quite giallo bloody, basically. So yeah. Pain, empathy, like nobody's really hitting each other, so I'm not gonna put that against you. Is there anything else? No. Yeah, I mean,
presence.
Yeah, for what you're trying to do, this requires some serious ass presence. Because what you're doing is not reasonable.
No, it's not. It is not whatsoever. Um,
No.
I have all my masks left, so like I'm
True.
fine. I'm fine.
Right.
I don't think I can argue using Sir Atticus's teeth, however, and gave me advantage.
No.
Oh, that's fine. It's a 7.
Okay, great. So, yeah, I mean, tell me how it looks, how it feels to have started to command the attention of those that are near you and them carrying the call of, yeah, that's big guy. We can all take him.
I think
And I'll give you the complication in a minute.
because
Chat.
chat is wild tonight.
Yes.
Because the monkey stick says hanging on the stick will cause a single person to focus intently on what you are saying or doing, ignoring all else around them. I think they all rush the slugger and start beating on him, and he just ignores it. He can't feel it. He can't even sense it because Sir Atticus has his attention. And as like I'm hearing more the pounding on flesh, the ripping, the tearing, just scratching, biting, anything at all, it makes me sick to my stomach, but I am very pleased with myself, with like how we managed to turn this around rather than Sir Atticus dying tonight.
I'm going to say that your complication is that as they are, surging, I mean, like this is a wave of testosterone pumped humanity, or maybe not humanity. They are rushing the slugger and doing as you say, but you are being carried along with it. Like basically, it's like you were ending up in a mosh pit and you're like being carried along atop them all. Yes.
Ooh.
And handed off as like each person like starts to like try to climb or bite or surge onto the pit. Yeah, some kind of mosh condition or something like that. I'll let you name it. And you're carrying, like, you're feeling all of this as well as being carried aloft. So, I mean, like, however you'd like to term this, if you would like to change your current condition of pain empathy to something else, it is more intense.
I think it's just a little bit ironic to change pain empathy into bloodthirsty.
Sounds good.
Because this is what I'm doing.
You get caught up in it.
You get caught up in literally and figuratively.
Boy.
I love it. Ernest has got the right idea. Absolutely. For sure. Oh my gosh. So, and yeah. And as this is happening, the slugger is not paying attention. He is intent upon you, determined to meet your words with protestations. And as this is happening, dawn creeps into this warehouse. Light fingers its way through, touching each of the participants. I think we were establishing that some of these people were not quite human still.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when they're touched by the reaching dawn? How do you see this end?
It starts slow. The fight, the frenzy, the blood that's being spread, it's people think that's from this fight. And then we see that wounds begin to open up bit by bit. stab wounds, gunshots, bits of bout club that left their mark. The thought faded. And as sunlight touches them, the wounds begin to open up again. And it's still a frenzy, but then weakness, frailty, as they succumb to wounds that they should have died to a long, long time ago.
Yes. Absolutely.
And then it's just us. The slugger having been beaten by a mob, me probably still held up by the throat. I don't know, I guess Weiss is there too. I don't know if you're still punching the slugger in the midst of your bloodthirsty furor.
I want to say that, like, because he was held aloft, I want to say that Dr. Weiss actually made it to the slugger and is probably, like, gripping the slugger's back and, well, doing whatever you think you're doing to the slugger yourself as dawn hits Dr. Weiss, as you're caught up into this.
Like, I am struggling to try to wrestle the slugger to the ground, but he's not moving. Rigor mortis has set in. And
He's dead.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
geez. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So he's just stuck there.
Yeah. So as we close out of this, I'm going to say that nighttime gives way to the dawn. This is how we find you. But in the distance, I'm going to say that the distant faded moon blushes maroon as many young men around the city, those that weren't here at Bout Club, I think many young men around the city begin to suffer extreme fatigue and impotence. And then there's this camera shot of crowds demanding stimulants at clubs, at pharmacies, at general stores, wherever they can find them, wherever they can get them. That is one of the mastermind clues.
Okay.
Okay?
Both are the same clue. The moon.
Yes.
Okay.
And the demand for stimulants, absolutely. For sure. And we close out of night phase. I would imagine that finding what you find and taking out the servant. How do you two end at the morgue, Liat, Ernest?
I'm going to let Ernest set this up.
I think that Ernest hears the clang, right? Having just gathered all this information and invisibly comes rushing in to see everything's fine, and just will lean over, not touching you, but in your general ear zone, softly speak something along the lines of, "Did you collect him?"
I think that when you come in, you would see the man sort of on his knees at her feet, holding his mouth shut. I think at this point, Abdurrahman has taken the tongue and has wrapped it up in maybe a nearby cloth, or maybe even has found a jar in the mortuary that he's managed to put some formaldehyde in. And when Ernest comes in, he sees that Liat is sort of just adjusting herself and putting the body back into the freezer. And Abdurrahman hands over the jar to Liat to admire, and she goes, "Oh yes, I acquired some very interesting things this evening. Information, most importantly."
Well, how fortuitous. So did I. including some interesting details about you.
Oh, and what might those details be?
I think at that point, Ernest, in a very cheeky way, will just leave the morgue and wait in the carriage and leave Liat waiting for a response that won't come.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna
Think-
play some games.
Oh dear. Okay.
I think that she waits for the response, and she looks to Abdurrahman, and she smiles, realizing that he's gone and slipped out, managed to get away from them. And the two of them make their way to the carriage finally after a moment, or a few moments rather. And Abdurrahman opens the carriage door open to Liat, and she slides in and puts the tongue beside her. And I imagine she sees the indentations of his body in the seat. And she says, well, I hope that whatever information you did find does prove useful in one way or another.
I think that it will. I really do want to know more about this collector. If only because, in truth, you are a very fascinating character study.
It must be so difficult, Ernest. I mean, all eyes are constantly on me, and there will never be any on you. Such a shame, really. I would hate for that talent to be wasted. And when she says that, she kind of gently caresses the jar. You have such a way with your tongue.
We just have to close there because we can't see the facial reactions on Ernest at all as he starts to put his clothes back on.
Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay. And we enter dawn. So, threat was resolved. Let's pull up some rewards here. Goodness. Let's see. Did I remember to put them in? That's the question. Let's see. Did I? Yes, I did. Thank goodness. All right. So let me reveal. Okay, rewards. A pair of knuckle dusters stained intractably with blood added to your personal quarters. A bottle of Dr. Rogan's botanical elixir for men added to your personal quarters. And the rest are mementos from the investigation. Ask another hunter what it is, and then add it to your personal quarters.
I will take a memento, and I'm going to ask Chaotic what they brought back for Liat.
No, not a Victorian sports jersey. It's weird, this item, I think. Because, like, looking around this place, typically it's at this time it would have been cleaned up and whatnot. But I do think we find this shrine to that goddess. And it's like this little, almost a little house where like little offerings could be put in. But it's easily movable, so like the Shoreditch Slugger took it with him whenever Bout Club moved to new.
So kind of like a shrine or altar to the goddess. Okay.
Yeah. I really want a bottle of Dr. Rogan's botanical elixir for men because that's just funny for Dr. Weiss to have. I've already decided what it does, so don't worry about that.
I'm fine with that, even though secretly Ernest might want to have grown invisible hair, which would have been hilarious. But I will happily take a memento instead. And Mike, could I have one from you, please?
A memento from Bout Club. I think that we recover the Bout Bell. It is the bell that Jester would ring at the start of every bout. Maybe Ernest remembers it ringing, echoing in his memory from the bout he did have.
Sure. Thanks for the traumatic memento. That's excellent.
Atticus has no idea. He's like,
Absolutely.
it's shiny. It makes a noise. Here you go.
Ding, ding. You can't see Ernest flinch.
Needs more cowbell.
Oh, good. You like it. Wonderful. Here you go. I'll take the knuckle dusters. Let's go. And those are if you could just post the description so I can put it on the character sheet, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Go for it. Yep.
And as we did resolve a threat, I must ask, is this a circle or is this an X?
I mean, it started off as like completely X, but then, you were somehow, again, engaged in voids. What the hell, man? I don't know. I mean,
it's both.
I think it's circle, though, because like you were the non-violent person in that.
Yeah.
You kind of let yourself get beat up.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely think that Dr. Weiss was the X in this
Yeah,
formula.
Dr. Weiss is
Seriously.
the X.
I mean, like, it's like you two switch places. It was the weirdest thing ever.
It's beautiful.
It was great. No, I mean, no denying that, but I was just like, what the funge? All right, great. No, that's totally. So what, yeah, go ahead and ask somebody.
As I give you the esteemed bout bell, Ernest, what sensation do we get of the beast's rapid approach?
I think I'm just going to straight up echo it. And even though it's dawn, the church bells within several blocks of us start to ring at an odd hour.
And with that, Mads, I have one mark remaining.
Sorry. All right, so let's continue on with the dawn. All right. Answer dawn questions. All right, so starting with John Weiss. Did the hunters answer question? Yes, from last time. Did the hunters resolve a threat? Yes. Did you experience an echo in the night? Thought I heard what?
Yep. Specifically, I believe like just the sort of like the idea of bout club, everybody surrounding this fight, and
yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you dismiss the possibility of a supernatural explanation despite everything you've experienced?
Last session I believe I did.
You explained away. Oh God, I forgot what you explained away with that.
I think it probably has something to do with vampires, if I recall correctly.
Oh yes, with the iron. Yep. Did you put your hands in a pile of guts and love every moment of it? No.
If you count my bloodthirsty nature of like just trying to like get this guy torn apart, maybe, but I'm also fine with not counting it.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, I mean. Yeah, I don't think we had you reveling in guts, like, like completely. I think you were trying to go for some guts, but I mean, like you weren't quite successful before he died. Let me see.
My partner is a printmaker, and there's a phrase called in a printmaking studio called clean hands, because when you're dealing with all of the ink, you need somebody who can touch the paper that doesn't have anything on them. And I think that that's the way I think of the mother's moves of like, if your hands are still clean, you didn't get in the guts.
Yeah, like my hands weren't clean by the end of the night phase, so that's why I was like up in the air of like defining it. But it was not proper guts though.
Yeah, question, because it's been a long time since I've actually had to do this. Would you have to specifically say that you're going to be scavenging for the child?
Can you get apart from the slugger?
It would most likely me having to specify it because I often have to roll that.
It's a dusk phase move, isn't it?
No, it's technically, this move could be triggered a numerous amount of ways. For example, the way I built my character, I have beneath the skin. So when I investigate body, one of my questions is, can I take a part for the child with anybody noticing? And the GM says, oh, nobody would notice. I automatically get a body part. However, if they say they do notice, then I would have to roll. However, if like I'm just trying to hack off like a body part, like that's automatically roll as well. Because
where
like,
you're going to be noticed. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
and I don't want to steal body parts in front of Sir Atticus. He won't like that.
Oh.
He thinks I'm cool. We went to a bout club together.
Yeah.
Brand new
Okay.
bromance. I'm already
Oh my
shipping.
God,
I have a secret laboratory no one knows about.
okay. Oh, don't forget you do get one
I
body
know.
part that you have to pick.
I have written that down.
Okay, great. All right, so yeah, take those points and then of course like add it to your XP track. All right. Liat. Answered a question, resolved a threat. Did you experience an echo in the night? Believe so? Yes?
Kids fighting, yeah.
Yo. Okay. Did you appear in London society wearing risque or avant-garde fashion? Yeah.
I went to a mortuary and ermine and silk and
Yes. Did you create an ornate, over-the-top erotic experience for someone else's pleasure?
I could have. It depends on how you define erotic. Maybe the janitor was into getting his tongue cut out. I don't know. I'll let you decide, though.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Or maybe Ernest was very aroused by the whole situation. I don't know.
I don't know. Was the carriage tricked out?
It's always tricked out
Were
easy.
you creating that, or was I creating that?
I mean,
I agree with that.
Fair point.
For sure. Yeah, go ahead and take those XP points, clear your dawn questions, and then change your elective ones if you want. All right, Sir Atticus. Answered a question, resolved a threat. Did you experience an echo in the night?
Yep.
Consumption, I heard that in the very beginning.
Keywords.
I give you the opportunity, and I don't see it happen. Did you taste someone or something else's blood, sweat, or other bodily fluids?
Honestly, I thought this was a shoe-in for Bout Club. I did not get a chance to do that.
Didn't you taste some blood in the morgue during the day phase, though?
No. I resisted the urge to taste a dead body's blood. Atticus's standards. Okay.
Yeah.
Like weird bug carapace with like some bug juice in there. Yeah, we'll try some of that with like a plant I can't identify. Corpse? No. Hard pass.
Got it. Did you loudly curse your family's name? Yes.
Last session.
Yep. Go ahead and take those points, clear your dawn track, and then also change your elective dawn questions if you so choose. And Ernest answered a question, resolved a threat. Did you experience an echo in the night?
I was alluding to it very lightly, imitating the dead bodies as in the morgue as I'm trying to remember the woman's name in the unseen that it was Maggie something or other.
Yeah.
She had to lie very still
Yes.
for one of her particular patrons, and that was
I'll take that.
Thank you.
I'll take that. Did you appear in a scene which you felt content to blend into the background?
I acquiesced to Liat's request in the carriage to be invisible for the evening, which I felt kind of like hit that mark. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think so, for sure. Did you dress or act in a theatrical manner in order to draw attention to yourself?
I think I was acting in a theatrical manner with Liat in just the hide and seek and the haha, I'm not here anymore kind of flirting, but I don't really feel like it hit this particular.
I feel like in the carriage, as you were acquiescing,
Slowly undressing myself.
I feel like you were drawing some attention, so you can take that point, please.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And then, of course, mark your XP track, and then clear your dawn questions, and then change the electives as you so choose. All right, so let's see. Mark new elective dawn questions. All playbook moves that were activated in dusk are right now. We do not have time for Janus mask prompts, so I will expect a mask of the past from Liat, a mask of mirrors from everybody. And
Except
I
Liat.
marked.
No, I have to do it too.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought you described that one. Oh, okay.
nope.
Ernest marked the cosmic passage
Okay.
mask, in which I have to narrate something too.
Okay. Do you want to do that now, or did you want to wait until everything else?
Everything else, because my cosmic passage actually has mirrors referenced in it, and I want to tie those two
Ooh.
together real nice.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Love that. Okay. So I know I do owe you guys one more mastermind clue, which may come after Stars and Wishes. It depends on how much time I have for Stinger. So let's go right to it. Stars and Wishes. Stars is things you liked about the session, each other, gameplay, all that. And wishes are what you'd like to see for the future. We are so bloody close. God. What are we at now? 10. 10 clues.
I'm so
11
happy.
once we have the other one, right?
Yep, once. Wait, hold on. Did I mark it? No, I did not mark it. No, 10. Because it's blank, but I mean, it's registering that there's something there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that Ernest is back.
Yeah.
Finally, somebody who's powerfully charismatic enough to fight against Liat at her own game. We have been so lost. Liat has been running amok. But just it was refreshing to be able to see Ernest in play again, between leaning in with a pig mask absurdly to a slow, seductive, like, yes, I will go invisible if you ask me to. Like, it was good. It was good to see Ernest back. And that closing little back and forth where like Liat struck back. Jack, that was very well done. Very good, sharp, incisive stab. Wish I want to see them go back and forth more. I want these barbs to continue. Chaotic. It was wonderful to have Weiss along in something that completely out of Weiss's wheelhouse, and then just get caught up in it. Like Mads was saying, the role reversal of Atticus. No, I will talk this out. And you said, no, let me at him. let me get in there. I'ma fight him. Was really fun. I do hope to see you take the lead in terms of like more of like the medicine, the like dealing with dead bodies, sort of like what happened in the morgue. Like, just so that Atticus could be like, oh yes, my new best friend is smart and knows these things that I don't. That's cool. So wish for that. Mads, I was so happy to see your eyes light up when I mentioned the monkey stick. I even did the whole Chekhov's gun thing of like, no, I already have something. I don't need weapons. I have this. So thank you for letting me get away with that with only one mark of the monkey stick. I'm impressed. Oh, also, Star, chaotic, coming through clutch with the Eternal Man. I completely spaced on the move, and that was a brilliant, very tactile thing to use here during that threat. Wish, I want to get that last mark next session. I would like for it to be an X, which means that Atticus will probably need to do something violent. I would like to do that because right now I am 9 and 10, and I would like to be perfectly balanced going into the final, into the beast. And I just want to thread that needle to say that I did it. That's it. Thank you all for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Beating that big man up. Or rather not. Because I thought you were just gonna whack him in the head with it. That monkey stick. But really clever Star for the clever use of it. Because I totally forgot about it. And I mean the idea of this endurance test and keeping his attention magically was really cool. And just the subversion of the brutish himbo, using peace to solve a bunch of these threats has been very fun to watch. And Yeah, it's I always love that you bring these sort of subversive things to these archetypes, and yeah, I'm very excited by that. Another star for that Eternal Man moment, that calling that out, chaotic, because again, totally forgot we had that, and thank God someone has a brain for it, because I don't. And also a star for this sort of like weird inversion of like Atticus, being, up in the air, held by his throat, but trying to talk his way out of a situation. Whereas like, it's sort of like, imagine like Dr. Weiss, like this like English Dale Gribble, just sort of like clawing at this giant man along with these other men, and just like very, very fun, rowdy, a little erotic. I don't know. It's not my place to say. But yeah, no, that was fun. It was a good scene. Good resolution to the whole thing. Ernest, good to have you back. Yeah, this is kind of a star in the wish, but I'm just really excited to see where their relationship goes. Because clearly she's amused by him, but she's also not one to get fucked with. And I think we saw that kind of on display between the two of them. I like the kind of echo, the mirror of like their first interaction in the carriage, and then him getting back into his clothes, and how the dynamic sort of shifted by that point. So that was fun to get to play out. And then Mads, thank you for coming back, for wrangling us all in, and I hope that it was a satisfying return for you. And yeah, curious to see what our next thread is. A wish we need to figure out what animal Patrick is, because that boy is just wandering the streets at this point. God knows what's happening to him, what he's getting himself into. But we should probably take care of that.
Yeah, I gotta give it a star for just everybody's like interactions this session of like with major characters, Liat, you making that weird custodian guy like a servant, Ernest just like let's get Nikki to solve our problems, because I love seeing, or rather not seeing, our invisible man, Sir Atticus, for doing his best and nearly dying for it. Yeah, I was like thinking in the background of like, okay, how can Dr. Weiss respond to this? Because like I know you're probably going to make at least one night move, but I can mitigate a lot of others through mechanics because that was like, I was, while you were doing your fight, I was like looking up like, okay, what do we have on the board in terms of moves? And like I was like, oh yeah, there's that move that we can use. And then my idea for causing the mob was more or less of like, oh yeah, if I could trigger a move instead of you triggering a move to resolve this, then that's safer for you because I have like masks plenty. So there was that sort of element. I also find it really, my idea for my actual masks, with the mask of mirror and stuff, have to do with a little bit of violence, a little bit of an emotional reaction, as you were. And I'm really looking forward to hitting that, because as you notice with my XP questions, do you engage in either romantic or emotional behavior with that is at odds with your aloof logical exterior? Because like I have things that can hit that because of my upcoming masks, as well as not masks, but my body part for the child. So Dr. Weiss has layers. A very smart man. Very impulsive man. But was he like that always? Who knows? I do. But I'm not telling. Not now, at least. And Mads, I'm just so happy you made like this guy like be like 8 feet tall and just like loom over me. I'm like, oh, I'm in danger. and this is really hot right now, so like let's have fun. So yeah, a really good session. It felt like it ran too short, and I want more, so but that's just a sign of a really good session.
Normally I wait till the end, but I just wanted to just call out like beautiful stars for everybody because I just felt like such it's cooperation, but yet it was also like somewhat adversarial character wise. So cooperation among players, like remembering the different details, like, oh, we have the monkey stick. Oh, we have Eternal Man. Oh, you can do this, that, and the other thing. And then like the role reversals within them, within the pairings was beautiful. And again, like I am excited to see what kind of chicanery Liat and Ernest's relationship is going to be, like however that winding road goes. I can't wait. And then the beautiful pairing of the himbo and the nerd. I mean, I with Sir Atticus and Dr. Weiss. I love it. I love it. I can't wait. I mean, these things are just like turning out so beautifully. And then like if you guys want to trade pairs, that would be also an interesting dynamic as well. So I look forward to seeing like, what you guys do with it. So all the parts that were already starred, I totally agree with. And again, I just love the partnerships that were formed in this particular session. They were great. I mean, like I had some stumbles because I had to get used to playing the game again, running the game again. And but yeah, I mean, you guys just fell back into your characters within a short amount of time or immediately, and it was wonderful. I mean, it was great to watch and play with you all. So wishes, yeah, I mean, like if that little move thing with the undeniable and a fellow hunter happens, I'm here for it. If it doesn't happen, I'm okay. I'm still okay with it. But I mean, like, I was just thinking, oh, there's a possibility there. That could be fun. And yeah, I mean, the Beast, looking forward to that. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that you will have the opportunity for completing your track next time. But again, you make out like you're going to do X, but then you turn out to be O. I can't help that, okay? So,
But yeah,
but you're
it's
making
entirely
interesting
possible.
character. Yeah, you're
It's possible I don't thread the needle.
like I said. I mean, you make interesting character choices, and it's beautiful and organic. But I mean, like can't do anything if you're gonna switch direction like in the middle. Okay, so just so you know. And I think that's it for me.
I will finish us off. I loved getting back into it. Obviously, I was in full snarky Ernest form today. I have time because I agree with everybody else's stars. I'm just gonna point out little like character choice stars that I wrote down in my notes because there was a moment where Sir Atticus was deciding on his prey for the first fight. And he was like making sure that they would be like, it was just so very Sir Atticus of like somebody, well, who could stand it, but I'm not going to lose to them. It just was like, again, threading the needle jokes. I really liked that as part of your character. But in that same kind of setup, chaotic, you described your doctor as being the hyena to Atticus's lion, and that gave him a perfect bloodthirsty note that I think came through really clear, and I can't wait for that character development. Chekhov's monkey stick, never going to be able to say that again in my life, but a star because I can. There was kind of like a double thrall in that particular scene that was really cool to watch because the monkey stick was supposed to enthrall whoever you like your intentions, but then Dr. Weiss was just so enthralled with the size of the slugger, and so it was very much like snakes in a basket. Like I felt like everybody was being mesmerized all at the same time, which was a lot of fun and echoey. Liat, The fit, the scalpels, the heat, all of that was fun. I have plenty of wishes, but none of them in stone, because the best part about like flirting in character for me as a player is letting that shit organically develop. I want to step in it sometimes, and she's gonna have to slap him down, and it's gonna be a fun little evolution of how they come to terms with each other that I'm really looking forward to. In addition to other wishes, obviously this was a really great way to bring Ernest back into the fold, so to speak, but as a character, he is still very ignorant of the demon from Kilbourne Abbey and Dame Georgie's fate and all of the other things that happened in just the like 36 hours he was gone. So having all of that kind of crash down into reality for him is going to be real fun to role play, and I am looking the heck forward to it. So I think that's it.
Very awesome. I look forward to all of it too. And I think to close, I think we are taking the camera into from your respective areas as dawn approaches and shines in. I think the sunlight streams into the different rooms, and I believe that in Dame Georgie's room, the sunlight streams on a book, leather-bound diary that mysteriously flips open on the hutch that it's on, and it's like illuminated with illustrations, and you hear like a strange voiceover of Dame Georgie's whispers on the wind as he recounts this tale, telling the story of Beauty and the Beast in this journal. But there's a particular filter through this story. It is not of someone rooting for the beauty. It is not someone who is sympathetic to the beast. It is written from the perspective of a man who desires to slay the beast, finding this beast, hunting it down, and claiming his prize, the beauty that belongs to him. And that's where we close tonight's session. As I finished out that mastermind clue. And I will see you all next time, provided everybody's here. But see you next week. Happy gaming for anything that happens between now and then. And I will see you next time. Thank you. Thank you all.
See ya.
See ya.